I want to welcome you to the Library and Cafe of Whitesburg Baptist Church. This is the first ever event that we've done like this, so I'm very pleased that we can do this for Maja. Maja is the daughter of Michael and Andrea Thoenes. Maja has always harbored a deep passion to create, first in writing from her mother and then in painting and drawing from her father. Maja's just completed her freshman year at the University of Alabama. She's majoring in English and minoring in Japanese. In just a few days, I think 2 weeks from today, she will embark on her dream journey to Japan to study at the Kansai Gaidai University in Osaka, Japan. She will be in their Asian Studies program. Maja says, "I'm in love with cities I've never been to and a people I've never met." Maja is passionate in her love for all things Japanese. But where does this passion come from for a people that she doesn't know? You know, all of us can say that we love people and places that we've been, but where does a love like this come from when you've never been there? And so Maja would say, it is a God thing. He is the only one who could plant this love for the Japanese people deep within me. This love for Japan led her to create the book Little Boy. After reading The Book Thief, she found herself curious about World War II, but not from the German side, which happens to be her heritage. She was curious about the Japanese side. Then, not finding what she was looking for in a fictional account that was based on historical facts, she set out to write one herself. August the 6th, 1945, the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. And I don't know about you, but even though I visited the Hiroshima Peace Memorial Museum, I forget the human cost of the bomb. However, Maja's story, though fictional, is based on historical facts. Her vivid imagery will etch in your memory the cost of I shouldn't say it like that, the cost, what it cost the people there, and you will have no trouble recalling what happened to the people in Hiroshima that day. I will admit the story was hard to read in places, but then I'm reminded that no matter how hard it is for me to read it, this actually happened to real people, and it was their true experience. The storyline weaves together four characters, 3 of them human and 1 of them not. And I want to read just a few sentences from the book to you. But I knew the reality of a human's frail but eternal soul, that every human deserves death. No amount of good deeds changes that, and death does come. The miracle is when we deserve death, but instead we find grace. So as Maja now tells us about Little Boy, and as you read Little Boy, look for grace and be surprised.
So, like she said, I'm Maja. I wrote the book Little Boy. And I wanted to just read a little section of it to kind of get you guys to work. Yeah. Just read a little portion of it so that you know what you're getting into. But before I start, I wanted to give kind of an idea of what the book is about. And I mean, as you probably know, it's about World War II and it's about Japan and the bombing of Hiroshima, but it's not just about that. It really centers that, but it's also about, you know, these characters who all have plans for their lives, and nothing that they want to have happen happens that way. Instead, they get a bomb dropped on them, and it's really about what they decide they're going to do with their lives after that, and how they're going to piece them back together. And then another character, everything happens exactly as he thought it would, and then at the end he wonders, well, if it had gone differently, would that have been better? Like, if it had not been up to me, what would have happened? So I think that it's important to read it and not just think about, you know, the bombing, but also realize, like, our own lives are kind of like that, you know, we have plans, and when something bad happens to us, you know, a metaphorical bomb gets dropped on us, what do we decide that we want to do after that? Like, do we want to stay in the ashes and the burning, or do we want to try to rebuild or to seek a new future, even though the one we had originally planned was lost? So I'm going to start reading, and it's just a couple pages, but I'm going to be in chapter 3, which is right before the bomb falls. And I guess you'll kind of pick this up, but it's narrated by the bomb itself. So when I talk in the first person, you'll know who's actually talking. So yeah, page 53. So later when you go back and read it, hopefully, you'll know where we are. Get ready, boys. Waldman looked over his shoulder at his nephew and Will. It's about to begin. Anderson addressed Marquardt in the cockpit. There's not an enemy plane in sight, Captain. No opposition at all. Tail gunner Sergeant Melvin Bierman called from the back of the plane. Can you believe it, Anderson? A bomb run like this in Germany, and we would have been shot right out of the sky. This isn't war, we're sightseeing. He laughed. He was a short man with a thick brow and wide, excited eyes. We're just waiting for confirmation from the straight flush, Marquardt sighed, referring to the weather plane. If all is clear, we'll move in. Go ahead and put on your goggles, everyone. Camera ready? Get ready. Camera crew, get ready. Sorry about that. He turned to speak to someone over the radio. Will glanced out the window, and sure enough, below them, checking the weather, was a single B-29. He slipped on his goggles and held his camera tightly. The lenses on the goggles were pitch black. He relied on the angle of the plane and the positioning of his hands in order to take pictures. It was a few minutes later that they received the all clear. The weather was perfect, a clear, bottomless blue. Not a cloud was in sight. It was 0813, and the radio operator was confirming positions with the partnering planes. Here we go, men, Marquardt called loudly. Will's heart began to pound. The clock says 0814. The voice exploded from the radio in a rainstorm of static. Bomb away. That is when I fell. I teetered off the edge of the Enola Gay and was hurled into the land and lives of Hiroshima. As I was dropped from the plane, I began to plummet toward the earth, rapidly becoming a small black dot in the Americans' vision. The three planes veered sharply away from Hiroshima, rocking the crew inside. Waldman rolled the film. Milo snapped pictures violently. The shutter rattled. Will breathed in and out in complete darkness. He counted. 1, 2, 3 seconds. Nothing happened as I fell. The wind whipped viciously across me, but all was silent, as though the earth had stopped turning. 10, 11, 12 seconds. Everyone counted on their watches, or counted quietly to themselves, every eye strained to see me through the goggles. 15, 16, 17 seconds. They were the longest seconds of Will Jenney's life. The clock changed to 015. 26, 27, 28 seconds. Will frowned. Shouldn't something have happened by now? But I wasn't worried. I continued to plummet. 34, 35, 36 seconds. Will was sure I was a dud. I, on the other hand, was not fazed. 41, 42, 43 seconds. Then a faint glow. Then a blinding light. An ungodly sight.